We just had a quick chat beforehand, and it's at the moment it's referring to my conversation with Jordan M.
Yeah.
Last week. We just want to get some clarification.
The English brother that I'm with all the time. No, the one that Leo called him the White Devil.
White Devil.
You know when
the Muslim one with the beard.
Who's Muslim? Muslim.
Yeah. He probably don't even recognize he's Muslim because you chat to him. English brother, I'm always with him. Tall kind of blend.
The man for sure me, man, get a reason with him.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Wagwan Isa,
Yeah, so
blessings to you always.
There you go.
Give you respect, you don't know.
Always.
Man, you don't know. We've always had
good conversation,
good
no
build,
yeah.
On both sides. You get me? So you wanted to clarify something that I got wrong last week.
So I'm not even gonna lie. I came to you today. Last week I was brewing. I'll come on the crud one still. I was gonna pull you up.
He was pissed off.
So I was gonna pull you up. So I felt like you misrepresented my view when you were speaking to Jordan.
Yeah.
Right. So in the conversation, just paraphrasing, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were saying Sunni Isa's position is that 6 and 9 is cool. Like it's okay for you to go out and marry a 6 and 9 according to the report in Bukhari, and Isa accepts that. And you said that off of the back of a video that we did a couple of weeks earlier. Me, Shaka, Raven, and you were there. And my point was I was misrepresenting because the point that I actually made is there is a report in Bukhari present where the Prophet married Aisha at 6 and consummated at 9. Then I also said, but there are other, there's a conflicting, or there are conflicting reports that would suggest that Aisha was actually 18, around that age, a little bit older.
About that as well.
Right. So I said in the video, if you go back to it, I'm undecided. That was my whole point. Was she really 6 and 9, or was she older? I'm undecided.
Okay.
But my whole point was
Isa was undecided,
right.
And I accept that his position.
Cool. So my whole point was to say though, as the corpus of character that we know about the man, or that I know and believe about the man, Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would not do anything. Yeah, and it's regardless of whether people believe it or not, he will not do anything to violate the sanctity of a human being, yeah, let alone a woman or a girl. So if it is, my point is, yeah, like I said, I'm undecided, but if it was the case that Aisha was 6 when she was married, right, and consummated at 9, my first point would be to make the declaration that society never made what the Arabics say inkar. They never rebuked the Prophet Muhammad for marrying, and the marriage here is more of a word betrothal. And as my brother Ash might confirm, in the Bible we have enough places where people betroth before they. Yeah. So when I say betrothed, I said contracts. Once the woman reaches the age of suitability, yeah, she's automatically either she opts out. It's called a spurs, right? So, how do you spell that?
Mary was exposed to Joseph at 6, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we can go into that road.
Right.
Because Joseph was given to, Mary was given to Joseph when they married, but never married.
But never, right. Okay, so after.
So which way you're saying we can confirm.
Cool. So it was more of a betrothal, a contract she was given. Yeah, go, sorry.
We have to look into things as tradition. There are a lot of people, that is why, you know, it's me. I don't really say certain things about certain things because in society, in Africa, you have people marrying at the age of 7 and living with their husband in Africa. These we call pedophilia. But if you look at the custom of history, where Muhammad might marry to Aisha at 6 years old, she go and live with him at 9. This is what it says. Does he break the law? No, it's their custom.
Okay,
at that time.
That.
You know, so.
Right, listen, I understand
Thank
that.
you, my
Yeah?
brother.
And I accept what you're saying. How you doing, Caesar? You alright? Yeah, good. I actually told you what I was going to say.
So you hear what I'm saying about the 6 and 9, but you still have an objection, yeah.
All right. Well, the only thing that I'm going to bring to you, is that when you say that you're undecided of whether she was 6 or 9, 18 years old.
As in, I haven't determined the authenticity or the strength of authenticity in the conflicting reports.
Okay,
That's why I'm saying I'm undecided. But
Can I get
I-
some more, sorry?
yeah.
Wait, one
So
second,
as a
one
but
second.
as a backdrop, we can do away with the authenticity. Yeah, we can do away with it. I'm saying if she was 6 and 9, right? Firstly, the community, the world at large, never rebuked it.
Okay.
Right? That's one standard. Yeah. Number 2, there was a waiting in the age from 6 to 9. Yeah, before consummation. There must have been a purpose and a reason for that. It doesn't serve. It doesn't serve the rational mind.
It's not noted though. We can only suppose.
Yeah, it's not noted. We can
Yeah,
only
we can only
surmise. But
What
it's
we
yeah.
can go for is the authentic hadith, and it's whether you accept the authentic hadith or not. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to put you in a corner and say accept it. You have to accept it.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to come at you aggressively like that.
No, that's fine.
But, I find that there's some Muslims that say if you don't accept that hadith as in Bukhari, I think it's in Bukhari, you're not a Muslim. And then some people like you would say, I don't know, I'm confused. Does that put your faith in Islam to some other brothers in jeopardy? Would some people look at you and say, because you say that,
Because I say what?
that you're not sure
Yeah.
about whether? Because I saw,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
in the comments, just in the comments, yeah, I saw because some people got a more, I don't want to use a buzzword, a radical more way of thinking.
Some people just accept the report off of the
Accept
fact
it.
that it's
He had-
Bukhari.
He
Yeah.
had it when 6, 9, you accept it.
Yeah.
If you don't accept it,
Then-
then you're
Yeah. Then you're like you've left off the
Yeah,
fold
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever,
you
or
left
you're
off the fold.
you're astray or you're misguided.
Yeah.
I think that sort of zeal is misplaced. Like it's perfectly valid for someone to have doubts, for someone to question, because we have to think about it in the context of this culture. That's not something that's on, and I wouldn't advocate it. And that's the thing that people often. It kind of in my head. It kind of makes me. It kind of makes me think. Why do people have such a big thing? No one here. I've not heard anyone here advocate for anyone to go and marry a 6-year-old, or even a 9-year-old, or even a 12-year-old, or even a 15. We just don't do it.
It's when you say things like that, that Muhammad was a perfect human being, you can see someone as a layman would come into it. I've learned a little bit more now.
Yeah.
You'll see someone who come into
People
a
are gonna
layman
disagree.
Would say, "Wow, that's a direct contradiction." If you say that's a perfect
That's right, Mr.
human
Judge.
being.
Yeah. Some people are going to look.
But no, but I don't believe it is, because no one.
What bother me still is inconsistency.
What's your name as well, brother? If you don't
Abdullah, yeah, Abdullah. What bother me when those people, if you start people here like in Britain, in the West, white people, anyone here in the West, if they study the age of consent law in the Western region, America and Europe, those people, when they mention about the age of Aisha, they tend to left out the timeline. They don't say 7th century. And I have to remind them, say 7th century when you speak. You know, put it back, make you reminded, because 2 centuries ago in the same country, 10-year-old and 11-year-old, it's a consensus by the jurists that it's legal for having sexual intercourse with.
No.
No. Before
But we're saying what you're doing is juxtaposing a 2019 standard, yeah, on the 7th century, but without some sort of moral criterion to do so. On what moral ground can you stand on? What objective moral ground can you say that is wrong and that is right? We often find that the West likes to impose its cultural standards on the whole of the world. These people are backward, they need democracy. On what moral ground can you say that the 6 and 9-year-old marriage, yeah, of someone who gave their consent, said she was pleased, is somehow morally wrong?
I believe that if somebody of 9 consents to having sex, no matter if it was 1,000 years ago, my personal thought,
Yeah.
somebody consents to having sex at 9 years old, I believe they're still a child.
Yeah,
For me
but let's be
personally,
real, that's based on a subjective belief though.
Subjective,
Yeah.
subjective belief. Believe that person could have been brainwashed. I understand that it happened amongst all society, so I'm not just going to pick out the Muslim religion and say we wouldn't.
Yeah, it happened with the Jews, it happened with the Christians, yeah.
But in 2019, we would have dreamed of saying that that's a normal thing to do in 2019. So
Okay.
when you
But in
say-
2019, you would have.
Finish,
Yeah, sorry,
finish.
my bad.
When
my
you
bad.
finish,
Yeah.
when you say that that person is a perfect human being,
Yeah.
it sounds like a mad double.
That's the problem,
Okay.
you know.
That's
See,
what-
Because when you start
I personally-
associating it with
Can I
God,
start something?
that's the problem. For
That's
people who
something
don't
we keep
understand
on,
as much as you.
we keep on forgetting the 7th
You can look
century.
at it
And
from a
what we don't
different
understand is here. You get 7th century. I get just 19th century gone, 20th century just left. And we here now at the 21st century. What make we just keep past those 2 century and then give what the 7th century event more year time?
God, that's the time.
Because we
That's the
mistreat-
time of the prophet. That's the time of the
No,
apple.
no,
That's
no,
what
wait,
I keep
But you're saying
referring
it's
to.
been
No, no,
happening.
it
It's
missed
been
my
happening
point. There
up
you
until
go
2 centuries.
Because your prophet, though,
No, that's
is saying
true.
that it's
No, that's true.
Where's right?
Yes.
So I've never made those words have never come out of my mouth perfect. I believe the prophet is the best example,
Okay.
right?
Okay, no, that,
But
I
no,
like
but
that.
I'm not
Okay.
gonna use. But that in it, I'm not gonna say the prophet's marriage to Aisha was somehow a downfall. There's nothing you can tell me to say that's a shortcoming of the prophet. There's no moral ground. There's no moral ground you can employ to tell me there's something wrong. If you can, I would like to hear it. Yeah.
it's quite personal, but I
That's
don't know
fine.
anything about you personally.
Yeah.
How long have you been a Muslim?
15 years.
15 years,
Yeah.
a long time. Did you know about this information before you took your shahada?
No, I didn't.
So
Did it make a
now
difference?
you're-
Did it make?
Can I
Yeah.
explain something to you? Can I explain something to you? You didn't know this information, so you've seen all the good sides of Islam, which there's a lot of good sides. You've seen all the good sides of Islam. You've taken your shahada, and then after you've taken your shahada, you found out something that you have to defend now because you're already.
I don't have to
you're
defend
already
it.
in
You have to defend this.
You don't have to defend it.
I'm not in need of defending it.
But you
Yeah.
have to either rebuke your religion or
I think it sounds like you are still in it to an extent. I think it's cognitive dissonance in the sense
You
that
might say that.
because the things that you're saying is like when you say the best, you know that certain things. It's like you almost
I
sound
say
like
that-
you know certain things was wrong.
No, I say the
But-
best because I don't believe human beings, by their very nature, can ever be perfect. That's why I say the best, right? Because on the perfection of a human level, yeah, because human beings forget, they sin, they get angry. I'm saying, but as on a human standard of character, he is the best to look
So
at.
you're saying that there's nobody who acts their
I'm saying-
behaviors.
I'm saying
better than Muhammad.
no one's character surpasses that of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one.
Really?
No one. Yeah, he killed people that deserve to be killed. And I'll say that rago on camera.
That's
I'm-
yeah,
I'm-
yeah.
I'm- I'm-
Who did he kill that? Who
And there's been many
did he kill that he wasn't
non-believers,
supposed to
isn't it?
kill?
Isn't it just like non-believers? And
Okay, so this is where
Slaves,
this is
all
where we
that
have to
kind of
employ,
go
yeah,
into that in a minute.
historical knowledge of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
This is-
If my knowledge of the Prophet Muhammad was a 7th century warlord, barbarian, who just stumbled upon people, thought I like their women and their wealth, started cutting off all their heads and stuff, then no, I wouldn't be following this person. But that's not what happened. The man came with a message, right? There was, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, became Muslim, there was no term called jihad.
Okay.
It was just war.
There was no, he stayed in Mecca for 10 years under the persecution of the polytheist Quraysh and did not allow any of his followers to fight back.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I heard.
Till they
Yeah,
pursued him out of they kicked him out of his very home. You're London, bro. Imagine someone kicking you out to somewhere like Hull or something and saying, don't come back.
yeah. But then his uncle persuaded him to fight, right?
Going Carlisle or something, they say, don't come back. He's left, you know, and even on his way, no. We're not gonna one line it, like we're not gonna one line it because people like to say, oh, he married. No, because people like to go, no, because we have to be just. They say, they say, oh, he was a paedophile. He liked people's women. He married his sons. He took his son's wife. He did all of this stuff. He did da. No, he didn't.
He didn't take his.
No, he didn't take his son's
nephew's
wife.
his
No.
son's wife.
If you read the Quran, it's quite clear what happened. The brother, his son had a wife, Zayd. Allah says when Zayd finished with his wife, and it had already been revealed to the Prophet Muhammad that Zayd was going to divorce his wife and he would marry him. He didn't tell Zayd to divorce his wife. The Quran it says the Prophet himself said to Zayd, Amsik alayka zawjaka wattaqillah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said to Zayd,
Keep your wife.
fear Allah and keep your wife. That's not the statement of a
I
man.
heard the other side of that. The other side I heard of that the guy was scared. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was scared that
okay.
Muhammad was going to kill him.
Yep.
You can just.
Yep.
When I was scared.
That's what I
I
heard.
don't know.
Zayd,
that's what I heard.
Zayd ibn
The
al-Haritha.
other side, what he said.
Zayd ibn al-Haritha.
But that's something you know you have to
You have to
be.
say the other
What
side.
when it's
Yeah,
when it's
That's actually the first I've heard from that side.
Yeah.
So you're the first person to tell me
that's
from that
scared. I don't
perspective.
know.
All I've ever heard is
I don't
that
know.
Is that
he's
he's
kind of like
scared?
pressured.
Well, we
Yeah,
have
he's
evidence
pressured.
and
So-
what we
So
have, what
it's
people say.
interesting,
So-
but that's the problem
Yeah.
because I agree with your sincerity, but you got other people out there who are trying to who are portraying it in your eyes in the incorrect manner.
Yeah.
So then how this is,
But then
That's the
if
thing, though.
someone
That's
is
where,
someone,
that's where it's
The
hard
woman's
because
allowed
I have to
to
navigate and I have to
again.
present my view. I understand
So-
that if other people have their
The woman
narratives
get
out there, it's very hard to decipher. But that's why I often encourage people to actually go to source material. Go to source material, yeah? And you can generally see who's balanced as a Muslim and who's not.
I don't know, because
Maybe you
I
can't.
don't know, you can't see.
Maybe
I mean,
you can't.
you got the different languages, you got the different denominations.
Right.
It's very everyone's professing that their version is the one.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying?
See,
So,
I was convinced about Islam before I read the Quran. But I made a point of not embracing
Very
Islam.
bold statement there.
I made the point of not embracing Islam, yeah, until I read the whole Quran. And I made sure I read the Quran from Fatiha to Nas as a non-Muslim, right? There was not, and it's purely subjective. There was nothing in that Quran, yeah, except that it convinced me and the fact that there is a creator of this world, right? He set a law in place for people, and you're going to be answerable to him whether you believe it or not. Right, and I'd rather be on the right side of him than the wrong side of him. But go
You
on.
sound very passionate. I believe you're a sincere person in that as well, yeah. But don't you see some problem in the fact of that before you took your Shahada, you didn't know that the controversy, because it seems to be a trending topic. I'm going to want to come up with this topic soon
Yes.
myself, to be honest with
That's
you. I don't
fine,
want to
yeah.
come here every week and talk about Aisha.
Nah,
You
yeah.
understand? But don't you see it as disturbing as, I feel it's a really important thing here, that before you took your Shahada, you didn't know about the controversies of, I wouldn't even say it's controversies, I would
Yeah.
say you didn't know about the ages of Aisha and the thingies, and would you still,
Would I
I'm
still have
assuming
embraced?
you would have still taken your Shahada,
Because
knowing
okay,
what you know now.
Because think about it like this, yeah. If I embraced Islam, right? I'm not in Saudi Arabia, so there's no apostasy laws.
that's the difference.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna get my head cut off if I leave. There are plenty. No, it doesn't matter.
Open hair could become.
I'm saying no.
It makes a difference.
Listen to. I'm saying no, but it's currently not. See, I'm not a person. I'm not. In 2005, when I embraced Islam, I wasn't a public figure. My face wasn't out there. I'm not even a public figure now. But some people might see me. I'm saying no one knew Isa, so it wasn't like I was Muslim 10 years before I found out. No, as I learned quite quickly, in about 2 months, 3 months, I was reading the Quran, like in Arabic. I didn't understand it, but I picked up pretty much in about a year or two. I was understanding the Arabic that I was learning, and I learned these hadith. These things were presented to me. If it was going to have any impact here, outside of my Islam, it would have had an impact inside of my Islam, right? So I'm saying, and
So you're not wrong and strong right now.
if I believe, that's the thing. I don't believe in being wrong and strong. If there's something that I literally cannot reconcile, then I'll tell man I can't reconcile it. But I have not seen anything.
You're not finding.
I have not found nothing, man. Listen, if a man tries to murk my family, believe he's getting murked. So death penalty and them things there. And because of, I think maybe as well, because of my attachment to my Ashanti culture as well, where I know how things run outside of the West to a certain standard. Yeah, I'm not bound by this, by these sort of
Western.
Yeah, these values that man have. Like where a man can go and lay with the next man is cool. It's also what he's always. Yeah, nah. That don't run, bruv. You're gonna get lynched, bruv. Where I'm from. And that's not me advocating to go out and yeah.
Lynch your man.
No, I'm not.
gonna say that.
No, let me clarify that as well, yeah. Because this is the Western influence. No, I believe, yeah. For me, I believe it's an Islamic standpoint, which is why I've been a staunch defender of Paul Williams previously. I believe the emotion, yeah, or the attraction to the same gender you are, that in and of itself is not a sin. It's the actual action, yeah, that becomes a sin. The fornication part, that's the bit. No, I'm talking about homosexuality in general. Yeah. I'm talking about. No, I mentioned this because in case someone says, "Oh, this guy's homophobic." No, I'm saying I've been a defender of a self-confessed person who says they have same-sex attraction. I personally don't have a problem with people who have same-sex attractions. The issue becomes when they start putting it in front of you and start trying to force it down your throat and start saying it's natural. It's not.
Punishments for it under your religion.
There's punishments for what?
Homosexuality.
There's punishments for fornication. It's not the.
Punishments in England for homosexuality.
No, not England. No, there's no punishments for fornication in England either. I'm saying I would get lashed if I slept with a woman, yeah, outside of marriage. Right? The man who fornicates with another man, same thing.
I'll ask you a question. Do you believe, see the people that were giving you Dawa,
Yeah,
and before you came a Muslim,
yeah.
your Muslim brothers, innit? Don't you think that
Brother.
they had,
One.
brother, yeah. Don't you think that they had more of a duty to show you about everything that was going on before you?
No, I don't believe you can teach someone a whole religion, yeah, before asking them to. I don't believe there's any bad things, but the thing is, it's not like
Balanced perspective.
none of it was hidden. It's not like they said, "Oh, here it is. By the way, in 6 months' time, I'm going to show you all the bad stuff." But
Technically
once
it is, though. If it's not revealed, it's kind of hidden, isn't it?
no,
It's
that's semantics because you cannot. No, because you cannot learn. You cannot. No one. They're not telling me half a. Listen, I read the Quran. Yeah, when I read the Quran, it said establish the prayer. I didn't know the prayer was 5 times a day. Yeah, that was revealed to me later. So is it every single? How Muslims themselves, generally speaking, for years and years, will tell you they don't know everything about the religion. No one can encompass everything about Islam. But what I had is the core. I had the crux, the fundamentals. I had grasp of all of that. Faith in Allah, faith in His books, faith in His messengers, in the angels, in the unseen, the decree, the good of it and the bad of it. I had this.
You have to have faith in Muhammad as well.
The messengers.
It all come through Muhammad.
That's an article of faith, believing in the messengers.
This person is a messenger of God?
Yeah, so it's the Muhammad is a messenger of God. Jesus is a messenger of God. Abraham, Moses, Noah. I believe that they are all messengers of God who came with a consistent message, turn away from false idols, worship that one God, right? And that's the way that you're going to be successful in this life and the hereafter.
You can understand that when you was given Dawa, for them not to emit certain information, whether they did.
I wasn't asking.
Or I know, but you was assuming that person had the best interests for you. That person who's giving you Dawa, for you to listen to them. That person,
by the way, was also a convert. That person may not have not known that information at that point.
This is what could be a problem, though, because you could have thousands and thousands of people taking their shahada.
Bro, if it's really that deep,
uninformed.
If it's really
uninformed people bringing other uninformed people into his
half a story.
He's got a point.
If you're given half a story,
it's not half a story. Listen. Yeah, go on.
In Islam, there's protocol, you give dawah. You have the main story, which is the activator for every other story. Like the Prophet says, you go into people of the book, which is come from the Christian and Jews. When you go to them, the Prophet laid the condition of the dawah. He said, make sure the first thing you call them to is the oneness of God. And he says, on the condition, if they accept the oneness of God, then that's when you move on to the prayer. And if they accept the prayer, then that's when you move on to the obligatory charity. So then there's this condition there. If someone was calling him and talk about the oneness of God and he says, no, I still want Trinity, I still want three God.
That's not saying.
Give an example. Sorry, if someone was calling Isa, the first giving Dawa, the person have to talk about the oneness of God because that's important. That's the biggest thing. And if he denied that, the person is not obligated to go along to speak to him no further. You don't have to speak to him no further. Because it's pointless to waste the time.
I totally understand what you're saying, but at the same time, the person is still giving them, like, if he can stick to those rules of Dawa, and still omit certain things that might have that person thinking in his mind, oh, wait a minute, I don't agree with that, or wait a minute, I don't want to.
I'm
not even sure about this.
You're assuming yeah, firstly, that there's been an intentional omission for the purpose of making Islam
If
look
that person
more
didn't-
attractive.
No, even if that person didn't know as well, then you're passing. It's unknowledgeable.
You're ignorantly passing on
it's
information,
unknowledgeable passing on knowledge. And
Brothers,
making
brothers,
it
each other.
unknowledgeable.
Corruption
It's like a
or
trade.
ignorance, right?
No, if you said, okay, if a man said to me, these guys told me about Islam, yeah, they told me to submit to become Muslim, right, and that it was worshipping one God, yeah, and then when I embraced Islam, they said, actually, you know, in your mind, yeah, like we did tell you it's one God, but actually it's like 5 people and they all make up one God. I'm saying no, I'm saying because some people have that stuff. They say, oh, this is a one person. But then actually, you see at that point when I spoke to you, your mind wasn't big enough to comprehend that. So actually, it's all these little 5 little characteristics and they all make up, and they make up one person. Then you can say someone's omitted.
Aspects.
A man said to me,
He's different.
there's no God worthy of worship but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. There wasn't anything, nothing, yeah, I accept that. There was nothing that came after that negated that.
Alright, I understand that, but what I'm saying to you is, if the person said to you, after he's given you that beautiful dawah,
If he said
you
to
know
him,
what, by
yeah.
the way, brother, there's a little thing, the person who got all this message, he had sex with a girl. I don't even want to make it sound crude or anything, I don't want to disrespect anyone.
It might have done some questionable things.
Yeah, there's what we all know about.
What we accept today is
Yeah.
being questionable.
By the way, he done this. Is that cool with you? I think that would have been a better way to convert you than
Obviously,
you find
would have
out
been better.
afterwards.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
a
Personally,
yeah, that's a thing. And for me, I don't. There's nothing in my heart that made me feel like I was betrayed and omitted. And bear in mind, I come from a Catholic background, so I'm used to people telling me about prophets that have done mad stuff. Yeah. So
For real.
You know,
Right.
For real.
You must remember, like, the day that you found out about,
no, I don't.
don't remember?
I don't.
It didn't
Because
matter. It didn't matter.
I didn't business, brother. I only learned that as a part of Islamic history, but that didn't shake my foundation. Oh my
didn't go,
God.
"Whoa."
Bruh, no, I didn't. Because as well,
principles
but again,
were-
but it's not even that as well. Because I'm telling you, I come from, I'm Ashanti. So I know about people getting married young. I know about betrothals. This thing of the 6 and 9 thing being such a big
Come
thing.
back to my
It's a
point now.
Western thing.
You come back to my, that's what I said, it come back to my point, yeah.
I condemn anyone.
You come back to my point, why?
Western, to be honest with
Come back
you.
to my point, why
I'm
they
saying, but
gonna?
that's from a Western standpoint talking.
Yeah,
You come back to my point now. Why they gonna ignore the just early 20th century when 10 and 11-year-old is in the law to have sex in Europe.
I don't think they ignore it.
So no.
It's still legal for a 13-year-old to get married with the parents' permission.
disgusting.
No,
Yeah, but I think he's condemning that as well.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
my point is that.
Listen, both 30.
Well,
Which age would you accept now?
my point is, it irrationalization, it can't find a conclusion. Why would they ignore that at that time when the Protestant is ruling? The Queen Elizabeth I was a strong Protestant. They were ruling with the Bible in this country. That's when it was a Christian. That's when it was a Protestant Christian country in the 17th century and 18th century. After Queen Elizabeth I, they call Queen Bess. Then you have King James. These are 2 Protestant, strong Protestant
She
rulers.
was only a Christian because she's only Protestant because of her dad who wanted to divorce his wife.
But within the 2,
No, because Mary was a Catholic and she had the same father.
Yeah, but
So-
King Henry was the one who created the Protestant church.
But I'm saying Mary chose to deflect from the church of her father. So it's not like it wasn't a
Mary
choice.
was
I'm saying,
King Henry.
why wouldn't you raise that?
Mary was
Why wouldn't you raise that? When England, when it says a Christian ruling Protestant, ruling with the Bible, where you say it's God's words. So those men who's ruling the Bible with God's words, they make 10 and 11-year-old legal for sexual intercourse.
Why?
So, and it's a consensus. That's Matthew, a head Jewish, the head of the Hill Commission, arguing court. So you have to argue with them. 10 and 11-year-old is legal, and it says the man is to like the younger age, 10-year-old, all over Europe. So those people who's talking, they cannot ignore that and point a finger at 11th century, where they just.
Why they putting their
find the
finger
rules
Why I
happening
believe
in the
they're
Old
putting
Testament,
their
and we find it in the New Testament. That we find Jesus allowing it on the basis of
Muhammad is
I don't want to have two influences.
perfect man.
Yeah.
He says the perfect man, and you won't say, oh, I don't agree. Well, you can't say, I don't agree with the age of when. You have to agree with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like you're between a rock and a hard
But you have to choose to
After
agree with it.
I agree with something
You
which is
have
not
to choose to
decided.
agree with it. You're not being. No one's got a gun to your head say accept 6 and 9.
but
You have to choose to agree to it.
I know, but you didn't know that before you took your shahada.
Yeah, and it didn't make a difference when I found out because I
I accept
chose.
that. I accept that.
I wasn't manipulated into doing it.
It might have been different if you'd have
It might
heard
have been
before,
a
though.
manipulation by the other person.
It might have been different if
What
you'd have
I-
heard
what I'm
before.
saying to
But
you-
my understanding from before is about norm of
What I'm
society
saying
from
is-
before. Because I already
By
studied
that
these
time,
things.
You realised that it was.
In case many people don't study
substance
the age of consent that oil grow.
that it didn't matter
You
anymore.
understand me? So I already studied these
the point.
things.
I know what you're saying.
So I'm saying,
Then
when am I gonna
I-
live
no,
over,
it's just
over
asking
1,000
that,
years,
then I would just
and you
say,
come
yeah,
to
that-
just
that
2
one was
centuries,
bad. Yeah,
and you
everything else is right.
you more modern and more civilized,
young
but you move one ear up.
That
No, but
did
who are you
not
to tell
impact
them?
anything. I didn't
They're
think,
wrong.
oh, nah, this is crazy.
Yeah, go on.
Or,
Because you were already.
because I was already accustomed with certain cultures,
Yeah.
number one, yeah.
And there's an ideology
There's-
in Islam where
It was just,
The
okay,
good outweighed the bad at that point.
how comes, I just had to look at it, how comes no one was, that his enemies made up loads of things against him?
they feel
And you're saying that could have been part of it.
you feel like Muslims feel like it's okay to do
Why
that.
did none of them, like I'm saying,
You mean today?
War against him, Jewish war against
What,
him,
like, for example, give me
whatever
an
other wars
They can go
against
to
him.
authentic scripture. They can go to
Yeah,
authentic
for those centuries,
Quran, they
at
can go
least
to
5
authentic,
centuries, no one said that.
and be like,
So where's it mentioned? If it's not
explain
mentioned
yourself.
by
Yeah, it's the Muslims. I'm saying
guy's
no one outside of us.
Yeah.
These things are knowledge that was presented by Muslims. It's not like we were hiding it. They're in our books. The books are
So
open
he's
for you.
drawing your own
That's where it's
conclusion.
found. So it's not like when a man
in our
says,
modern
is
age now,
the
people are starting to talk about it because they're from different cultures and
because
different
right,
like-
and it's
like-
become a new
like
means of
if
people
you-
demonizing Islam.
Like-
Oh,
let's
he
say
married
you
6 and 9. That means we have to discredit all of the other stuff that he's bought. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
No, go
sorry,
on, you two carry
sorry,
on. You two
sorry.
carry on. I'm going to get involved in you lot's conversation. So
I was just saying, yeah. For me, I think Aisha or honing in on Aisha is part of the wider effort to discredit Islam. Like I said to the brother, it's not a thing of people are saying, yeah. It would be a little bit more reasonable if they did. If they said, do you know what? My culture doesn't agree with the 6 and 9, but I can see that there's other things in the life of the Prophet Muhammad that were good for his people at the time. Certain men have that. Certain men have that.
I'm
saying, but
you're saying they focus.
most men don't.
Yeah,
Most
focus.
men, that 6 and 9 thing is to discredit
Say everything
everything that man said.
Yeah,
Even
it's
about
a shocking
even
Yeah,
even
because it's
I
a
want to know
shocking
which
thing.
culture didn't agree in 17th century. Tell me which culture don't agree with that age
you
number.
say that he was perfect. This is the difference.
What, 6 and 9?
What's the perfect?
When you say that Muhammad was perfect,
I say he's the best
Yeah,
example.
that's best.
No,
I like
yeah,
that. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
man start talking about perfect,
no,
yeah, best example. I can deal with.
Follow the norm of no. The best example follow the norm of his society. What's wrong with it?
you understand how some people from this culture, when they've got Islam in this country being spread, be concerned.
Why would they be concerned?
How many Muslims are there in
Can I?
England?
25.
How many Muslims? In like percentage-wise, yeah. How much of the population? I'm asking you. There's
3 million.
6.5%, yeah, of the right.
60 million.
On a political on a political aspect, yeah. If all the Muslims united under one,
There's a few different things.
Oh, we can listen to you as well. And we can hear the wrongs, but we correct them
I
because
can listen to your
Yeah.
interpretation
right?
of
So
Islam and
Sharia
instantly go on
is not
YouTube
coming
and listen to a different
to the
interpretation from
That's
Saudi
true.
Arabia. They'll probably kill you.
to us.
That's
what
true.
Don't
interpretation?
get it twisted.
That's
That you're
true.
over here talking
generations
with
down the
me
line.
and
Yeah.
even I put certain questions to you.
But I'm saying your interpretation of Islam is
He's not
different.
running
Your
away
interpretation of Islam.
from the
All right, for
question.
example,
He's not running away
even
from
for
the
example, even
question.
even question
You're
you
not running away
one
from the
second.
question.
Even the question they ask and the way you ask them. Some people might say your interpretation come from BBC, the media.
No, trust me.
BBC correspondent. Yeah.
Trust me, I know a lot more about
No, he's right.
I'm-
He's
I
right.
don't know, I'm-
There's different Muslims that believe different things. He's
I
right.
don't-
about
Yeah, but I'm
that.
saying,
He's right.
and the non-Muslim also intrudingly have their version.
I don't give
Yes. And that's the
I'm
problem.
talking to you,
Different
and I'm getting to,
non-Muslims
and
also
I'm
intruding
talking
in
to you, and I'm
other
getting to know you as I talk to you, as I see you. So I've got no preemptive judgments on
When I say
you.
of this version, yeah, when we not like the other religion, we lose the document. We have our document preserved.
I think you have a sympathy
No, we're talking about
for
different denominations of Islam.
Islamophobic
That's
That's
what
sentiment.
he-
denomination
I
of
feel
Islam.
like
You
you've
make-
bonded
you-
with
you-
like
you-
people
you-
that
you-
you met with
you-
like
you-
during your
you-
Tommy
you- Islam,
things,
what is that?
and I think
You
maybe
prove performance that
no,
true.
I feel like
Because
that as well.
the
But I'm saying
denomination before
as
they
well.
have-
I think you've mentioned I think you've
only
mentioned
increase
as well
my
that you've got white family,
So what you
that
thinking is that
heritage,
is that
and maybe
doing
even
this
children as
actually
well. Yeah. So
You understand what I'm saying?
you do have kind of a vested interest as well. Yeah. in making sure, right, and then making sure that everything's safe and that we all get along and stuff, right? And I can understand that the media shows Islam as the boogeyman. So it's
more radical.
So who are defining the people in this country are defining
Islam as a white issue.
no, I don't think.
Because it sounds like the way.
I feel like Islam has been shown to the white population as a boogeyman. I don't think the white people are directly responsible for it, but I do feel like a lot of the working class, yeah, because the majority of the country is white, so by virtue, they are the most influential people in this country, white people, generally speaking. So if Islam appears to them as the boogeyman, right, then they'll pretty much stamp it out or put forward a very valiant effort in curbing Islam or introducing laws and legislations which put Islam on the out.
Like the Hindu population in this country feel the same as the white population when it comes to Islam.
Can you repeat that question there?
Do you not think that the Hindu population feel the same as the white population in this country about Islam?
I don't know too much about the Hindu population here, but I don't believe they have the significant amount of numbers, yeah, to do anything about the sentiment.
So are you saying
So I'm saying, which is why I asked you about the Muslim population, because we ourselves don't have any significant.
What they were saying in their time, that was then.
No, I wasn't saying. I didn't say he's influenced. That's not what I said. I said, yeah, he's been. I said, yeah, he's been. I said he has some Islamophobic sentiments because of his bonding with the people at the Tommy's kind of right-wing people who have Islamophobic sentiments. You can't say they don't. These people that go to the Tommy Robbins.
Right wing rather than white.
No, that wasn't my point. I think you're not getting my point. I'm not blaming white people for Islamophobia. I'm saying, yeah, that when I look at the people.
You understand how I thought like it sounded like you was.
Bro, I'm not accusing there are white Muslims. So for me to say that I'm not saying Islamophobia is something. There are black people that are Islamophobic. Yeah, I'm saying the fact that he has okay, if I'm in Rochester, right, where all this grooming has gone on, and I have a white daughter, I'm not white, but if I have a white daughter, and it's mixed race, I don't know how much they get affected, but let's say mixed race daughter, let's say I was white, because I'm if I feel like the Asian Muslims are targeting my child as as some sort of form of Islamic propagation, yeah, then it's going to turn into some sort of an ethno-based hatred. Like they're only coming after me because I'm white. They don't do it to their Asian girls. That becomes an issue, and it converts or translates into a racial one, and the lines become blurred between race and religion to the point where, when my guy says on the camera, yeah, I'm the king of the Islam, or we'll say I'm the king of the Islam race. Tommy said that when he was drunk. There is no Islamic race. In his head, yeah, Asian translates as Muslim. Yeah? So for people saying, it's not racist, I agree that Islamophobia is not entirely racist, but there are racist undertones in there. And I don't care what no one says, you have to acknowledge that. There are racist undertones.
For Tommy Robbins, any kind of movement like that's on the right, you're going to find racist elements in it. Even that talk about the right, yeah, I feel like we need to define what right, because as a young kid growing up, yeah, learning about politics.
Apologies. I'm just always heated in the beginning.
No worries. Okay.
That's
So as a young kid, yeah, as I grew up, I learned. Okay, so socialist communism on the left, yeah, conservatism, nationalism on the right, and then like working class democracy in the middle. Even though I think that's nonsense. When I think about right, I think about conservatives. Tommy Robinson is looked down upon by people that are traditionally conservative. As far as I'm concerned, the working class is not who the right wing for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's aristocracy, landowners, people that have generational wealth. Tommy Robinson's not of that ilk. Neither are the people that are really following him like that.
I think has changed though. Still.
So I don't think
That's
they're.
why they won the election.
I feel like they are working class
aristocracy
people that have been
using the
sold,
working
yeah,
class
some
That's
type of
what they do all
ethno
the
right
time.
sentiment,
French
and
Revolution.
that's what's fueling them. But
That would be the great replacement that they keep getting taught.
Is that like the Dems?
that would be.
Great replacement.
Okay, I'm not. I don't even know if you want to explain what the great replacement.
Basically, a lot of the right wing,
what?
should we
Two
say,
wings
we're
say
going
birds.
about the narrative of the great replacement, which is the white race being replaced.
Okay, so like they're gonna be bred out.
Yeah, but then you've got certain people saying that it's because of Islam. But Islam's an ideology, it's not a race. So this country could be 100% Islamic and still have a 90%
And still be fully
white.
British. Yeah.
But that in France.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. Yeah.
This
But-
either in France. It's not here.
I don't know if we got lost on the conversation.
We're talking
Yeah.
about three conversations at the same time. So apologies on that.
Nah, it's fine,
really
mate.
enjoying this conversation. I'm trying to think of something else. I don't want to hit you
Yeah.
up too much.
The thing I was trying to say is, yeah, about that.
To another, I'd like
Yeah.
to another black brother about slavery and
Cool.
stuff like that as well.
Can I ask you, how comes, yeah, the issue of polygyny, marrying a man married more than one wife, is not more of an issue than the Aisha thing when they were they're both by Western culture not accepted.
Just morality
You
changes.
go like
You say, God decided these are going to be the ages.
for
And then we
in this
change.
society, one of the worst crimes that you can do, and not even just in this society, just in this world. For me personally, one of the worst things that you can do is take a child's innocence. You having more than one wife is in no way, shape or form.
I don't know. The way I see it,
They're two different.
You're saying one is more severe than the other. You're saying.
regardless of
What's the worst thing that you can do? I'm not saying that when you've done it, it might be up for debate whether she was 6, 9,
Yeah.
18, whatever. So I'm not putting this towards a thing, but I believe it's taking a child's innocence is one of the purest evil things that you can do. That's what I think. Still seems too far. Taking a child's innocence. Still seems too far. I think it's a shame that the person that gave you the Dawa didn't tell you the things that possibly could have had you thinking in another way. They thought more about the Shahada. They possibly could have thought more about the Shahada.
That's the thing is no one forced me to take Shahada. I made sure I read the Quran before I did. I called the brother and said to him, come, let's go to the mosque. So it wasn't a thing of he pulled the wool over my eyes. No, that's not the case. Like I said, I read the Quran, yeah, and I encourage you, at least, even just from an aspect of just trying to understand, yeah, even if you think it's total madness, I employ all people to open up the Quran, English, yeah, from Surah Al-Fatiha, from the opening of the book to Surah Al-Nas, the 114th chapter, and just try and get a glimpse into the mindset or the mind frame of someone who professes that this is the God-revealed religion. Like for me, like Jordan was saying to the brother Jordan, it don't make sense that man stand and argue. Yeah.
What I don't want to do is argue, but what you
I'm
can't
not
do,
saying about you, bro. You can.
I'll tell you what you can't do. Yeah, you can't just go and say to everybody that isn't Muslim, read the whole Quran. They're gonna tell you to f off. Literally,
No.
like they're gonna be like, hell nah, mate. I ain't doing that. I'm gonna look at the bits. The internet. We're in the age of the internet now. I'm gonna look at the bits. I'm gonna look at the bits that are
Controversial.
Yeah, controversial. I feel like it's a threat in my country. These are the things that I'm concerned about. I don't.
So you're gonna read half a message?
Can I say one?
That's the reality of good. That's the real. No, I didn't get half a message. I had the full message.
I don't know if you did
No,
have the full message.
tell me how. Yeah, like I said to you, I was told there's no God but Allah, and His Prophet is Muhammad. That is the totality of the. Yeah.
You did get the full message, but it can be perceived that you was given half of the story in the fact of
and the context and all the backdrop and
yeah. There's a lot of things that I believe that people would want to know. I believe that if I was a Muslim,
You yourself,
Culture.
okay.
I'm gonna take it. If I was a Muslim myself,
Yeah.
and I was giving you Dawa, I believe that it would be imperative for me to tell you this before you take your Shahada.
Right.
Otherwise, I feel like I'm doing you a bit of a disservice.
How much? What percentage?
Then you will be a disservice to the Prophet then. If you claim you're a Muslim then, and you follow the Prophet some ruling based on the Dawa and how you worship.
Found out afterwards.
No, but if you claim to be a Muslim then you have to say you follow the Quran and follow the Prophet. You have to be true to your test. No, that's a problem.
I don't think that analogy is the one. I think
No, because
I
I'm
think you
saying
use
the dawah is that the Prophet give you a legislation or you do the dawah.
Yeah, no, but to the man that's not Muslim, he could be thinking, you should have told me that, bro.
Yeah, okay. So it's like
No.
You gave me
You can
your
leave,
dawah
you know.
according to you.
I'm saying this is not Saudi Arabia. So here you can leave.
No, but
I know.
It's kind of embarrassing as well, though, isn't it?
Why?
Like, let me use a better analogy. Let me use a better analogy.
I'm telling you because I know people that have
It's like
left
trying to promote
Islam.
England.
So do I.
I know people that, I'm telling you, the brother that taught me Quran is no longer a Muslim.
Did he leave because of any of those things?
No, he left because of his own doubts that he had, other things. To be honest, I don't even know the full story why he left, but there were some things that were mentioned. I'm saying people leave and enter
It's
Islam
easier to leave.
every day. No one's gonna execute you here.
I don't think it's easy to leave because once you
It's not just about execution.
Once you commit to something on a spiritual level and you take it as a you take it in your heart truthfully,
And you go so far.
it becomes harder to just to say, you
I
know
was
what,
It feels stupid to say.
out.
that, you know what I'm saying?
No, it doesn't.
You feel that as well.
As someone who's
Subjective,
who's
it's
come,
subjective.
no, yeah, it might be subjective. As someone who's come out of one religion and gone into the next one, yeah. Like I said, as a young child, I was an avid Catholic. I used to go to church on Wednesdays and Sundays. I was an altar boy. Yeah, I learnt the Bible. Yeah. When it suddenly, I believed in it. I actually believed Jesus Christ was God. When it became dawned on me that he wasn't, or I felt that he wasn't, yeah. No, not through Dawa, through my own confusion. It never made sense. From the fact that I'm doubting myself as a person. I'm thinking to myself, I have no certainty whatsoever that when I die, I'm gonna meet this man, God.
About theology, very
But the
important.
Christian theology is talking.
Yes, so that's very important there.
So
to be
I'm
certain.
saying, yeah.
Theology is different from the age of marriage of somebody. Are two different things. It's two different areas. Theology have to do with God alone.
So theology is the study of God, innit?
Not the woman
But I
age.
thought you was talking about Jesus being God.
Yeah, but I'm saying what is doubt? His doubt is in the area which is the biggest doubt you can have about God.
Right.
Because God is the greatest.
Does he exist? That's the crux of
that,
does he exist? What is there 1, 2, 3 or so I'm saying?
And then it's what form and which particular denomination
Right.
that you believe in.
So that's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's a different thing. Yeah, it's a different thing. But he's just talking about the context. He's just saying, like I was going to say earlier, it's, rather than using that analogy, let's use the analogy of promoting England. If you live in England, it's like promoting London. Look at where all the money is. You got nice cars. You can get a job, but they're not promoting. Like when the Jamaicans came over, they promoted. They thought the streets were. Yeah, they thought the streets were. But they find when they come over, they found some mad poverty. They found it wasn't as nice as. So it's context. It's giving all the information, and I think that's the easier analogy as what to use. What you're trying to say.
And you done your research and you said, you know what, I'm comfortable.
Is that the same as someone? Is that the same as someone? So what you're talking about? Information at that point in time.
But what he's saying from his perspective,
I think we keep
is
the
it
brother
seems like doing the same thing.
keep on missing priority. For example, I'm on my dying bed. Yeah. I got 1 hour to live.
Yeah,
I don't know about
brother. No conversation. Rome weren't built in a day, bro.
Well, I got 1 hour to live. You'll be a fool to come and tell me about the age of Aisha marriage.
Subscribe to
When I believe worshiping Christ, I worship a man.
Yeah.
You best want to come and tell me about the oneness of God, because that can save me.
Alright, Isa, I think we had a
Yeah.
good conversation for now. Is there anything else you
Nah,
want to say?
we can have a chat another day. I don't wanna.
Oh,
Yeah.
20 minutes or something, I might have something coming in.
That's fine.
But I'll put that as confirmation about what you're saying about Aisha.
And that saved me from the appreciation.
So I want to ask this guy.
So there's priority in it. There's priority.
Yeah, I know. I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You end my Facebook message.
Stop this one. I'm going to come.
I see you with a Yahudi, brother.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, man, that's a brother.
He knows me.
That's
Are you
brother.
sticking
I
around
can see
again?
you, man. I know that in bro.
Come back and
I'm a nice person. It won't be a trick to know that.
Umar, I want to start done a little bit of research as well.
Yeah.
Umar, I want to talk about slavery in Libya. When you talk about how it makes you feel personally, how it makes you feel personally, those kind of things.
Cold,
And obviously, I know it doesn't change you from your religion or anything like that, but I'd like to go a little bit deeper into it and how you feel about it. Yeah. Blessings to everyone. What's your name, brother?
Nelson.
Nelson.
Yeah, man,
Blessings.
bless,
I've seen you around.
And you.
Respect for having my back there.
That's what I watched and I thought,
You don't know.
That's it.
See you as well, brother. Respect as well. You got content over everything. Always love, blessings. all that good stuff.
I bring back Getty's intro though.
Simple questions.
He didn't bring back Getty's intro.
start skanking to it.
Black Van Man, I'm out. Love. Poke myself in the eye.
Black man don't thrive in this setting.